But we got Jay in the studio, so let me go ahead and plug him on in here. Jay, how you been? How's it going?
It's going, brother. I'm so sorry I missed that first 20 minutes, man. Is that Mario on the other line?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. I'm here with you.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
I can't complain, man. Just another day, another dollar on my side of the woods. How about you?
All right. Well, nothing much, man. Live from the fair tonight.
As you should, man. As you should.
All right, we got a handful of topics I want to get in before we get you out. For those that didn't catch early in the beginning of the show, we got Jay coming on for about 20 or so minutes. Talk some NBA real quick. We ain't talked NBA in a few weeks with the NFL going on. Jay, I'll get up with you later after the show. Maybe every few weeks we can get you a 20 or so minute spot so we can cover things going on in the off season, get ready for this NBA season rolling around the corner because it's going to be here before we know it. First things first, Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. What's your thoughts? Did you like it? Was you just as surprised as it looks like everybody in the NBA was, except for maybe the Bucks themselves? What's your thoughts on Damian Lillard going to the Milwaukee Bucks? Does that change things for you? Do they? I know Vegas, it made the Bucks go instantly to being favorites over Denver. Does that change your opinions on the Bucks? I know we went from championship to early exit to adding another piece. What's your thoughts?
Well, you know what? Here's the funny thing. My predictions are typically like 50-50 with situations like this, right? If you remember last year's playoffs, I was accurate about some things, and then I was way off about some things. I will say this, though. If we're talking about championship contenders, it all depends on what type of, Damian Lillard we're going to get. If we're going to get last year's Damian Lillard, it's very difficult not to call them a title favorite just based off the fact that he was statistically he's had one of the best scoring seasons in his career. I mean, you're talking about 71 points in a game. You're talking about, like Dame time Damian Lillard. And you pair that with Giannis, and you have, in my personal opinion, the best pick and roll that you've seen. Most people say Kobe and Shaq. I'm going to take it a little bit step further, and I'm going to say this is the best pick and roll that you've seen since the Utah Jazz of the 90s with John Stockton and Karl Malone, just because it opens up so many lanes for Giannis just to operate and just bulldoze like the opposing team on that offensive end. Now, I will say this. They will be lacking a little bit on the defensive side, and that's just with losing Drew Holiday. I think we all know that. But I think that it's all made up for, if you start talking close games in the fourth quarter, there's nobody outside of Steph Curry that I want the ball in the hands of outside of Damian Lillard. So it's put up a shut-up time, really, for both Dame and Giannis. If they don't win a championship in these next two seasons, then quite frankly, they only have themselves to blame.
Yeah.
My other thoughts we talked a little bit about last week. My other thoughts on that to add to that. One, I think this will help extend Damian's career because now he's got some help. He's got some other superstars. The whole team's not dependent on him to carry them. I think it also helps Giannis. It takes some pressure off of him, gives you another ball handler, gives you another scorer. I think if Damian stays there long enough, I think it'll help extend the life of Giannis as well. I like the move, and it also helps Middleton. So now you got three serious threats. Defensively, I agree. Mario, your thoughts before we transition over to the Drew Holiday move?
I like it a lot. It is going to be an excellent pick and roll game and a lot of open shooters, and especially with Lopez, it's definitely going to be a good team. But on defense, it will be lacking, but they should do something this year.
Drew Holiday to the Boston Celtics. I know there were some questions going into this offseason and what the Celtics need to do, what pieces they needed to add, what pieces they need to move. I know there's been some moves. There's no longer Marcus Smart out there. I know there's a couple other pieces that have been shifted around. Obviously, defensively, this helps the Celtics. Offensively, I know you got some serious threats over there. I think this helps because I think we all feel not Jason Tatum. I'm drawing a blank. The other dude on the team, number 7. Throw his name out there. One of you two, real quick.
Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
I think that helps because his inconsistency. I think that will help maybe mask that a little better because it's not just them two doing all your scoring at this point since you lost some players. But I think this helps kind of mask that and kind of take some pressure off, especially the days when Brown's having a bad night. It takes some of that pressure off Jason Tatum. It takes some pressure off Brown and not worrying about, okay, I'm only getting 15 points tonight. It's just not on because then you got Holiday to kind of pick up the slack and to be there defensively. Obviously, a good piece for the Celtics. I think is going to make things interesting out east with the Celtics as well. Jay, your thoughts?
So you know what? Here's the funny thing about Boston that nobody, no sports podcast, whatever, really mentions, and that's just going to be their defensive prowess. And you got to remember this: you got one of the best defensive point guards in the game, in Drew Holiday. Last year he averaged 1.2 steals a game, 7.4 assists. But you also got to remember you got Kristaps Porzingis right there in the in the paint. This is a 7-footer. He's bona fide. He's proven that he can be a defensive threat. Yes, they did lose a lot of defense when losing Grant Williams, and their other guy that they ended up sending over to Boston. But you still got Al Horford. You still got Jason Tatum. You still got Derek White. And then this is coming from a Detroit guy, I'm going to bring out a name that nobody mentions and he's so forgotten about just because he's one of those 12, 13 men on the bench, but he does have a lot of defensive potential. And that's only if you're a Detroit Pistons fan. And that's Svi Mykhailiuk. Probably never heard of him, I know. But he's playing with them as well, and he brings a lot of defensive prowess on that small forward position. So this is a team that, quite frankly, is going to be very underrated on the defensive end, especially in the playoffs, considering the division that they're in. I see them going a long way just off of that alone. Don't be surprised if you see an Eastern Conference Finals, and this is going to sound a little bit corny, but I'm really kind of predicting this one right now. You like to see an Eastern Conference Finals featuring Milwaukee and Boston.
Yeah,
I can definitely see that. Before I get your thoughts real quick, Mario, how about when we talk about the Boston Celtics and the pros, we not throw out 90-year-old Al Horford. I'm just playing. It seems like you've been around forever. Anyway, Mario, any thoughts? Because I don't think that had happened last week's show, so that's kind of fresh for us as well.
Yeah, it definitely is a good pickup, especially after losing Smart. But Holiday, he definitely going to help out on the offensive side and most importantly on the defensive side, just like Jay said. But we got to see. It looks good, it sounds good, but it's always something when it comes to Boston within Tatum and Brown. You know what I mean? We got to see how they're going to still get this thing right and get a championship to Boston.
Now, I don't want to cut you off, Jason. I didn't want to cut you off, but I was waiting for somebody to say something about Jaylen Brown. And you know what, Mario, you're right. The guy's inconsistent. He doesn't have a left hand. It's just not his time. But you put the ball in the hands of Jason Tatum, and you got buckets. I mean, it is what it is. So yeah. I wouldn't doubt that cat, man.
Jimmy Butler. Seems like he's not happy about all this. Y'all seen the press conference, the media, the whatever he had going on with his hair. Y'all see that stuff?
Yeah, I saw
I'm emo or whatever. Oh my Lord! What's your guys' thoughts about Jimmy Butler? And what's going on there, Mario? You first this round. What's your thoughts on Jimmy Butler? That conference. I feel he has a right to be mad. I think everybody thought he was going to Miami. I think Jimmy Butler was led to believe that Lillard was going to make his way to Miami, and instead, Miami's pretty much the same team and don't have Lillard. And I think Butler's a little aggravated about this. So, your thoughts on the move? What we saw out of Butler, and I don't know what to call what we saw. I don't want to say it was a rebellion. It just looked like he hadn't done up his hair because usually Butler when he's on court is pretty much on point with way he looks, and it looked like he was like maybe in between hairdos and just kind of flat ironed it out, and that was the end of it. I don't know how to describe this.
Yeah. But as far as the doing a press conference, as far as his look, it's not, I'm not here to judge, but it's not my kind of kind of personality-wise. You understand what I'm saying? But like I say, I'm not here to judge. You won't catch me wearing or doing anything like that. But you know what I mean? To each his own. But as far as on the court and how he feels about Lillard, you know, it's kind of Miami. They kind of really do need him because you know Miami's just gonna be stuck in the same type of Miami situation. You understand what I'm saying? They draft good. They do a lot of good things, but I would have been upset too. But as far as the look, it's not my type of look.
Jay?
Yep. So, Jason, and I don't know about you, Mario, but Jason, I know you're an old school cat, man. So you remember an old band called Panic at the Disco?
Yeah.
All right, man. So every time I look at Jimmy Butler, it immediately has me thinking of the song "I Write Sins, Not Tragedy," where it's like, you know, I chimed in. Haven't you people ever heard of it? I mean, look, I'm happy he changed his hair back to his original style. I can say that because there's just no way that, and I mean no way that I could take Jimmy Bucket serious, dropping 50 on somebody, moving a bang out his left eye. I just can't do it. So, but you know what? You hit the nail on the head, Mario, when, you know, you talk about just him being upset with not getting Dame. Quite frankly, he also didn't get Drew. So, you know, if there's ever a loser, like in this offseason, that's a recent memory, I guess it will be Miami because you got to think about it. They lost Gabe Vincent. They lost Matt Struss. They lost out on Drew Holiday. They lost out on Dame. Hopefully Tyler Hero comes back like at 100%. Hopefully Bam is like ready for the next season. But you're also talking about a Miami team that, quite frankly, wasn't even supposed to make the playoffs last year. People forget that part. And quite frankly, was almost a win away from not even making it making the play-in tournament. So that's not write them off just yet. You just never know. I was actually talking to a couple of my guys. Big shout out to my guy Khalil, my guy James. I know they're listening on the podcast as well. But I was actually just having a conversation with those guys. And one thing I mentioned, prior to last year's playoffs, did anybody know who Gabe Vincent was? No. Did anybody know who Matt Struss was?
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. So for some odd reason, Pat Riley pulls it out of his you-know-what and makes it happen. So I'm not going to write them off yet. Give me about 60, 70 games into the season before I say Miami is just washed.
All right.
Let's just get through all 82 and make it another play. Honestly, I forgot how long his hair was when I first saw it. I thought this was kind of a protest. I honestly at first thought he had a wig on. I thought he was just pissed, trying to protest and just kind of show his butt at media because he was mad. And then, you know what he does? I forget that he braids all that and has all that going on. So I forget that stuff and didn't realize. But yeah, I thought it was a whole wig at first. I was like, this dude up here mad, showing his butt, like. I get it. You wanted him. It would be a great addition. It'd probably put you as favorites as you and your 7 undrafted players last year did the unthinkable things, and this would help you continue building. And now you have a year already under your belt with these undrafted players. Now the chemistry and everything, you get to continue to build, an offseason to build and get ready for the next season. And you didn't get the piece. And honestly, when I first saw the picture without thinking and going into any research or even thinking about anything, I was like, this dude showed up, put a wig on. God, I'm emo on him, and is just showing his butt for you. So, yeah.
With the lip ring, Jason. With the lip ring.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. So yeah. There was another sub. Oh. Derrick Rose. I thought this was hilarious. So when they brought Derrick Rose in, Derrick Rose went ahead and sat down and talked to Jay Morant, and pretty much told him, I'm not your babysitter, I'm not following you around, all this other thing. At least he kind of put the law down that what he was going to and not going to do. Do you like that approach, Jay? Do you feel that was the right approach to start this whole thing off for them?
Yes and no. And here's why. You know, if I'm John Morant and I got a man like Derrick Rose on my team, I'm picking his brain. like no matter what. You know, that's the best resource for a guy like Ja Morant that you can ever have. Now, one thing that Derrick Rose didn't mention that he hit the nail on the head was him and D Rose and Ja Morant both have a very similar play style. They play above the rim. They play really aggressive. They play really athletic. He also did give Ja his flowers and saying that, well, hey, man, you're on a whole different level, which I really don't believe. I believe that in his prime, D Rose was way better than Ja Morant, but hey, you know, that's just my personal opinion. However, I will say this. It is imperative, and I mean imperative, that D Rose carries Ja Morant under his wing as much as possible, because you got to think about this, man. D Rose prime was short-lived, literally just due to injury, right? So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who, quite frankly, should just be coming out of his prime, if not still playing in his prime, and still he has a positive impact on the NBA as a broad. Everybody loves D Rose, from from the NBA, from the players to the coaches to the GM. This is a guy who reeks positivity. So for a guy like him, you have to mentor a guy like Ja Morant, especially considering the track record that Ja has. I don't believe Ja is a bad kid. I believe he's a great kid. I just believe he's just like every other young 20-year-old, like doing it for the gram, doing it for the clout. And there's a guy like D Rose who kind of plays low key. It's kind of for guys like him to get these guys back on track. So I hope that D Rose does take Ja on his wing and does coach him like as a coach on the court. I believe that's why he was brought to Memphis to begin with. And I believe that if he does that, you're going to see a resurgence in Ja Morant. You're going to see a MVP caliber player out of Ja Morant. You're going to see a 25-point scorer in Ja Morant. And then you're going to see a newly found leader out of Ja Morant.
I'm going to ask you one more question, because I don't keep up with this. I want to ask you something about Derrick Rose real quick, then I'm going to ask Mario about a question about this, and I'm going to let you throw out a topic real quick before we get you out of here, because I know I told you about 20 minutes. I don't want to hold you up. What's changed with Derrick Rose? It seemed like in the beginning of his career, especially after the MVP season, he couldn't stay healthy. What has changed with Derrick Rose that it seems that he stays healthier now in his later years versus when he first came to the NBA?
So that's one of the things that you OG cats teach me all the time, man. It's called maturity, and it's called knowing your body. And what I mean by that is, and I had the luxury of actually watching. I've had the luxury of watching Derrick Rose play live, during his year and a half in Detroit. And when I tell you it's a different style of basketball, but still aggressive, it's one of those things to where you still see D Rose for who he is, but you understand this isn't, I'm going to dunk on you, Derrick Rose. This is, I'm going to break you down with the dribble. I'm going to get it to an open man. I'm going to get that wide open lane to the basket. And that's how he's been able to prolong his career. Let's not also forget that he learned how to shoot that jumper. He learned how to create with that three-point ball. You saw that when he was playing in Minnesota right before he even came to Detroit. That's the type of Derrick Rose that was able to prolong his career, and I think it's the smartest thing that a man like him could ever do. I mean, quite frankly, he doesn't have an ACL, MCL almost anymore. So what point is it for him to try to go back and I mean, it's true. What is the point? What point would it be for him to try to go back and prove that he's the same old athletic D Rose as opposed to refining his game? You've seen this happen with NBA players many times over the league. I'll throw out a couple of names for you. Ray Allen, he was able to prolong his career like that. Brook Lopez, he was able to prolong his career the exact same way. I'll take it even a step further for a lot of cats who wasn't around like truly saw the game as it was during that time. You even had guys like Michael Jordan, who was able to advance his game after that first retirement to pick up that mid-range jumper. That expanded him into an extra retirement that he was able to produce from. Even Kobe Bryant was able to kind of pick up and advance his game to equate for about 20 years. Hell, even LeBron has had to do it. We all have to do it. It's just how smart are you at remembering that, hey, you're not going to beat Father Time. And with a guy like D Rose, you're also not going to meet the many injuries. Let me go ahead and actually revamp my game and get it to a point where I can last another 5-10 years in the league.
Now, did Al Horford, since you threw him out there earlier, did he do the same thing? He readjusted his so he could play until he was hits 100 now. Mario, Mario, do you think Derrick Rose is going to change Ja Morant's lifestyle? Do you think him being there, having a mentor that plays similar to his style, someone that's been in the league, someone that's been an MVP, all the accolades, all the things that a lot of these players look up to him, even that play with him. Do you think that's enough to help get Ja Morant to, you know what, maybe I need to cut this crap out. Maybe, you know, this dude right here, you know, was a big deal. And injuries, I don't have the injuries. He had the injuries, so once was a big deal. He's a pretty good deal now, but Derrick Rose is not the same Derrick Rose from the Chicago Bulls at first. So I don't want to take anything away from Derrick Rose, but it's not the same Derrick Rose and when he won that MVP. Do you think it changes anything for what Morant does and how he takes this next season?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Just because we already know what to expect coming out of D Rose. He's going to teach. He's going to motivate. He's going to lead by example. And just in my opinion, you know what I mean, just from his history, you know, he definitely got a good story to tell. Ja, you know, as far as his climb, his ups and downs, and the lessons that he's learned. So ain't nothing like listening to a player like that you really do respect, and you have a great respect for. He's going to listen. But I also do think Ja Morant, he can't take no more L's. You understand what I'm saying? He can't really take no more L's. You know what I mean? Doing nothing crazy out the way. You know, he really can't afford it. So if he's a smart man, which I think he is, you know, not saying he should be listening to what other people think or he should live his life. You know, that's all cool and dandy, but at the same time, you know, you're messing up the bottom line. You know what I mean? The bottom line is the NBA. The bottom line is the team that he plays for. You understand what I'm saying? So he definitely got a lot to learn. But I think Derrick Rose is there to really help him out and to lead him, you know. So it's a good pickup, honestly.
Two things for you, Jay. One, same question. Do you think it changes anything? And then two, anything you want to throw out there before we let you go?
Now, are you asking if it changes, like with D Rose being on the team, if it changes anything for Ja?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like, do you think he cleans up his act? Does he clean up his act? Does he those kind of things? Is that kind of the reason why they had to bring him, Derrick Rose, in because of the suspension? Do you think this is going to help clean up his act? Do you think Ja's going to become more focused on being the basketball player he should be versus worried about having the gang life or the stupid stuff that he'd be doing with the guns and the strip clubs and everything else?
Well, paraphrase of Mario, he had damn better. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, it's true. You know, here's the thing. You know, we got to say it up here. You're not that guy, pal. And that's just what it is. Like, you're not a thug. You're not a gangster. You don't have that level of street cred, brother. And what better person, honestly, seriously, what better person to express that to Ja Morant other than Derrick Rose? We forget, you know, Derrick Rose is from West Side Chicago. You know, that's Chirac. You know, that's the real hood. You know, and D Rose can tell them all about all the stories you want to hear about how it was for him coming up and, you know, like what the real hood really looks like. I want to see a Ja Morant who's focused on the game of basketball, point blank, period. Because I feel that a Ja Morant who is focused on the game of basketball and doesn't care what nobody thinks is the most dominant point guard in the league. And you heard it here. And that's not including a Dame or a Steph Curry. I'm talking about a up-and-coming guy who will dunk on you at moment's notice. That's the Ja Morant I need to see, and the only way you see that is if he gets all of that nonsense completely out of his head. I think Derrick Rose coming to Memphis was designed specifically to show that, and then also having a guy like Marcus Smart kind of also helps with that additional coaching. We forget Marcus Smart is also there as well. So you got two real mentors that you can actually pick up off of to learn from, and honestly to allow you to play your game as is. We all know this is Ja Morant's team. It's now a put up and shut up season for him.
Any topics that you want to throw out there, or any topic you want to throw out there before we get you out of here?
I was just talking to my boys. So check this out, man. This season is probably not probably. I take that back. This season is going to be the most spectacular season that we've seen in the NBA from now through like 2008. And the reason why I say that, you got a stacked playoffs in the Western Conference. We always talk, on, who's going to go. I think last year, if you guys remember, Phoenix was my squad. I'm a Golden State guy. I'm a Phoenix guy. I'm a LEC guy. I'm a Denver guy. I'm so excited to see that. My biggest interest right now is my hometown Detroit Pistons, baby. So much so, man, I'm actually going through our open practice on October the 15th. To kind of get and mix and mingle with those guys. I'm actually looking to mix up with Q Khalil, who's actually one of the beat writers for one of the Detroit Pistons podcasts in Michigan. So I'm trying to get some play time with him to kind of talk chop. I'm so excited for this season, man. I can't wait for tip-off.
Most definitely. I'm looking forward to that. Jay, I want to thank you for coming on, as always. Those that don't know Jay, Jay's been, I'm going to say with us. I'm going to use that word. I don't know if you feel that you've been with us, but Jay's been with us for like 10 years at this point.
Day one, baby.
Used to be on all the time. Life's taking him one way, life's taking us another way, but he's been on, I'd say, a handful of times over this last season, so looking forward to getting you back in the studio. Like I said, I'll shoot you a text after. We'll see about getting you back in a couple weeks, talk another 20 minutes. I like every few weeks, maybe we can get you on as we lead up to the season and things that happen. Also, one more thing. We're getting closer and closer to that game. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing two undefeated teams match up in the shoe. And hopefully our Buckeyes come out on top.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you ain't talking about UFM Ohio State. Go Blue, baby. You know what it is.
Jay, appreciate you. I'll shoot you a text. You have a great night.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't